didn't fall down, and I've just decided that I don't like skiing, but I do know how to do it. Oh, it looks like we're live. Let's go, Amy.
Welcome to Over the Ledge Live, the podcast, the number one, and some say only, political satire show based solely on the Texas Legislature. I'm Amy Lowrey, and I'm glad you're here. Over the Ledge gives you a behind-the-scenes look at the shenanigans of the Texas Legislature by decoding political headlines and legislators' behavior into easy-to-understand single-ant jokes. We're just as funny, but not as famous yet. Let's meet our guest tonight. First up, we have our beloved Aaron Salinas. Aaron is an award-winning writer, director, and actor with a love for brisket, breakfast tacos, and learning to live with lactose intolerance. A native Texan, you can find Aaron listening to Selena or in the aisles of an HEB when we're not in stage 5 or experiencing a winter storm. He is vaxxed and boosted and thinks you should be too. Welcome, Aaron Salinas.
Hello, everybody. Lovely to be here as always. It's still cold. Really wish that shit would change, but otherwise, I'm okay. I hope you all are doing well and get boosted.
Awesome. Thank you, Aaron. Next, we have a wonderful comedic guest for you tonight, Paul Normandin. You might recognize him from our live show playing Senator Charles Schwertner or Agricultural Commissioner Sid Miller. He loves to tell stories to anyone who can't outrun him. He is the 2016 Houston Moth Grand Slam champion, founder of Austin Free Hug Day, and dean of the Merlin Works School for Kids who can't read good and want to learn to do other stuff too. Also known as the Merlin Works School of Improv Institution. Please welcome Paul to the show.
Hello. Thank you so much.
Did you write that bio?
I did not write the part about kids. My kids are in their 30s. No.
Our very special celebrity guest for tonight is the Honorable Amy Clark Meachum. She is the presiding judge over the 201st District Court. What does that mean? We don't know. And that's why we've brought her on the show. She graduated magna cum laude from Southern Methodist University with degrees in both political science and journalism, and graduated from the University of Texas School of Law with honors.
Right.
She is passionate about children's literacy and currently serves on the board of the local nonprofit Book Spring. She and her husband, Kurt, have 3 children and live in Northwest Austin. Please welcome Judge Clark Meachum to the show. Yay!
I think I needed a funnier bio, but I wasn't asked for my humorous bio. Next time.
Ooh,
okay, thank you.
Next time, humorous bio.
I understand she sings, but not tonight.
Oh,
No.
That is not true.
And a toot.
No. When you walk into court and you're thinking about
Finally, we have the creator and the ruler of the Over the Ledge Empire who needs no introduction. Stephanie Brooks Landgraf is not my lover. Chiarello.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here and to have all of you here. I really appreciate it.
As always, before we hear our monologue today, we want to take a special moment to thank our sponsors. Thank you, sponsors.
Thank you, sponsors.
Thank you.
Save the date. We will be back live in person September 16th through 18th of 2022 at the Long Center. We are coming back. Yay! I have had people asking me too, Stephanie. So people
I'm
are
so
ready for it.
excited.
Hey.
Yes. Now it's time for What's Up in Texas with our host, Stephanie Chiarello.
Yay! Thank you. You know what? I have a manatee. I love manatees, and I have a calendar over here on my left. And I don't know if you know, they're dying, guys. They're dying in Florida at record rates, and it's because they don't have enough food. And so please donate for some lettuce to the manatees. Okay, but that's not Texas. Let's talk about Texas.
But I mean, like, everything's dying, so it's okay. Like
I
the earth.
know, but they're just such simple, sweet creatures. I mean,
They are cute. I will give you that.
yeah, okay. Early voting for the Texas primaries are underway. Polls show incumbents with a big lead in the GOP primary, while Democrats are faced with the classic dilemma we like to call the voice, deciding between 5 people we've never heard of. The group Texans for Better Democrats is supporting challengers to incumbents they don't think are progressive enough. State Rep Harold Dutton of Houston and State Rep Art Fierro of El Paso, to which the aging Dutton and Fierro waved their glasses in the air and replied, progressives? We've been wearing those since before you were born.
Nice voice. Nice voice.
Thank you. State Attorney General incumbent Ken Paxton is suing the CDC to stop requiring masks on planes because it interferes with his supervillain alter ego, the unmasked mandate.
That's cute. That's good.
A judge ruled Texas's ban on proactively offering mail-in voting apps is likely unconstitutional, to which Ken Paxton replied, "Thanks for reminding me soon the Constitution was next on my list." I really need to take like impression classes because I just make up voices, but I don't sound anything like them. Okay. Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick promised his new faux university, the Liberty Institute, will fight critical race theory, mostly by sticking to their original plan of not actually teaching anything at all.
The term "fight critical race theory" just sounds so racist. How can you like not expect getting heat for that? Just like, yeah, we're gonna bring critical race theory to, like, that just sounds terrible.
I don't know.
I don't get it.
Speaking of Dan Patrick, his campaign had a little oops moment when they sent ballot by mail applications out to voters and had the voters return those applications to the Secretary of State when they're supposed to go directly to the county. And you wonder why Republicans don't trust elections. Okay, are any of these going to get you in trouble, Judge? Let me know when you have to.
I'm giving my golf clap laughter.
Okay, thank
I think
you.
that's safer for me. It's safer.
Got it. Okay.
Safer.
Incumbent Agricultural Commissioner Sid Miller continues to be under fire for ethical violations, including staying friends with his indicted political aide. But as Sid always says, when you're hunting wild hogs from a hot air balloon together, that's the definition of ride or die. Okay, and I want you to know, almost all of these jokes I don't write. Amy K is our writer. She is fantastic.
I love Amy K.
I love Amy K.
The impression was better that time, though. Sounded more like Sid Miller.
Thank you. I've studied him for a little while now. Okay, this next one I did right.
Just do
Brooks
all
Landgraf, Brooks Landgraf, who you've probably never heard of before if you are not associated with the Texas Ledge. Conservative Republican state representative from Odessa and creepy Teletubby lookalike has been accused of having an affair based on leaked texts, nudes, and voicemails. Both Brooks and the lobbyist he was having the affair with deny it. Now, I'm not saying I believe the accusations are true, but I am saying, why would anyone want to see a nude of Brooks Landgraf?
Now we got to look.
Now you do. The head of the Texas Department of Motor Vehicles resigned due to the widespread sale of fake paper license plates, but I heard her resignation letter was just a napkin taped to the back of an underlit Camaro. Yikes. Okay, there are just a few more. A former grid operator says Texas could actually connect to the other two national power grids without additional oversight and without ledge approval. All we need is someone on the Colorado border brave enough to plug in their Christmas lights next door. Thank you, Aaron. State Board of Education candidate and ill-intentioned troll Robert Morrow filled out his League of Women Voters surveys with some answers so crude they couldn't even be published. All that effort spent trolling, when if he wanted to be censored, he only had to write 3 letters: C-R-T. And finally, the anti-abortion group Susan B. Anthony List awarded Stephanie Click, chair of the Public House Committee in the House and woman who certainly just sharded, with the inaugural Torch Bearer Award for her tireless work to end abortion. Torches. What are they planning on setting on fire? Oh, wait. Watch out, 3 remaining abortion clinics in Texas. Boom! Thank you. That's what's happening in Over the Ledge this week.
Wow.
I will say Brooks Landgraf kind of looks like the generic Sims character you get when you first start playing The Sims. Like, just who do you want to be? Male, and he just looks exactly like that.
There's some Star Trek character he also looks like, but I didn't watch after Next Generation. He just is an awkward looking dude. Amy,
Well,
take us home.
wasn't
Start
that
us out.
harrowing? Okay, audience, let me tell you how this podcast works. On today's episode, Aaron and Paul are competing against each other for the coveted Most Knowledgeable Comedian in Austin award. Comedians, please be aware that you can each phone a friend 3 times if you're stuck on a question. And by friend, we mean the judge. This award is given to the comedian who knows most about Texas politics according to the outcome of the games on our show. Stephanie, show the award.
Okay. What's the Olympic theme? Oh, yeah, we've got to drug test both of you, but we will.
Whoever wins gets their picture taken with our special guest, the judge. She will post the picture on her social media, announcing that the winning comedian is the most knowledgeable comedian in Austin. Stephanie, did we ask Judge Amy if she's okay with this?
Obviously not. No, I did not.
Judge Clark Meachum serves on the district's 201st court. I've already told you more than I know about what judges do in Texas. That's why we're playing our first game called Judging Amy. As always, comedians can ask our special guests for help a total of 3 times apiece between the 2 games they play. And Judge, please feel free to jump in at any time. But remember, this is Texas and nobody gets anywhere with any help from anyone else. Miller, right? He goes, oh. All right, Stephanie, want to take us away?
Yes. Aaron, are you laughing because you know the TV show Judging Amy?
Yeah.
Okay, great. It's like we walked into this without even planning. Okay. These are predominantly multiple choice questions, and we're going to start with our special guest, Paul. Are you ready, Paul?
I am ready.
All right. There are 5 types of courts in the county. Which one of the following is not one of those 5 types? A, traffic court. B, civil court. C, criminal court. D, probate court. E, JP court. And our favorite, F, juvenile court. Which one is not one of the 5 types of courts?
That's hard.
I'm going with traffic court, and that's all I've got.
Correct. You're correct.
Oh.
It's not one of the counties. Not one of the courts of the county. Excellent.
You forgot night court.
I feel like I should interject a little.
Please.
Because he was correct. It's not an official, titled court at the county. Most traffic violations go through the city courts, the city of Austin courts, but you could end up at traffic court in front of a JP. So just JP court can be traffic court. And especially not in the city parts of the county, but in JP2 or JP3, I think that's a lot of rural Western Travis County. They do a lot of traffic court. It's not officially traffic court. They do more than that, but you can have a traffic ticket and end up before the justice of the peace.
I'm just saying that speeding ticket I got on Christmas Day just paid off. Thank you.
There you go. So I just felt like I could clarify that.
Thank you. That's what I want, because I couldn't tell you what any of those courts do.
Yeah.
And so please keep interjecting, and then perhaps you can tell us more at the end. When I think JP court, I think getting married.
Oh, yeah.
In front of the JP, right?
You can do that too.
Okay.
Yes.
While you take care of your traffic court ticket. So
Exactly.
You can. I
win-win.
thought you could get a twofer. That is true.
The judge is like, come on, line them up. Let's go.
Aaron, there are 3 seats up for election on the Texas Supreme Court. Place 3, 5, and 9. Which of the following is the name of one of those candidates? A,
Okay.
Julian Ramirez. B, Jasmine Owen. C, Aaron A. Noel. Or D, Judith Susan Blum.
Ah, I'm an idiot and just want to say C because we have the same name.
You can use your phone a friend.
Your Honor, if you will, because this means a lot to me. Because if I get a picture with you, I feel like I have like an ironclad alibi for anything I might do in the future. So I really need to win.
So I got a little worried when Stephanie was asking that question. I was thinking in my brain, I hope I know the answer to this question.
Oh, no.
But I actually do know the answer to this question. And you are doing, I will, you don't need to use your phone a friend. I feel like you have already done well without my help.
I will say C then, the one with the handsome name.
You're correct. It's Aaron A. Noel. Or
So
Noel.
Judge Now is actually it's a female.
Oh,
Okay.
still a great name.
She spells it ERIN. But Judge Now is currently a judge on the 5th Court of Appeals in Dallas. And she is, I can't remember the places, and the places don't really matter, but she's the uncontested Democratic primary candidate for, is it place 5? I don't know.
3. I think she's placed 3.
Yeah,
yes, ma'am.
So anyway, she's a lovely woman and judge. I cannot support candidates, but she is also running unopposed in the Democratic primary. So,
but I can support them, and with a name like Aaron, it's got to be great. So,
and just side note, Judith Susan Blum is Judge Judy. I don't know if
cool.
That's her full name.
I was really worried, Stephanie, when you began that question. I was like, boy, I hope I know. It got me a little concerned for a second.
Okay, I didn't mean to do that. And Julie and Jasmine, those are the names of my staffers.
I thought that might be the giveaway there.
Okay, back to you, Paul.
Oh,
how many judges are there on the Texas Supreme Court? 9, 12, 15, or 5?
Judge Amy, you are such a competent and capable, knowledgeable judge. Obviously helping out my dear friend Aaron, who I want to beat and pulverize today. So if you could help with this question, I would take it as a great kindness.
So do I give him the answer or do I give him a hint?
You can just give him the answer.
All right. Well,
yeah.
Your guess would have been the number that's on the U.S. Supreme Court.
Okay.
And so the number would have been 9. And so
that's wait, yeah, I have one less finger than that. That's good. I can figure that out.
Yes, 9. There's a Chief Justice and 8 justices.
Oh.
You know, do you have I kind of want to say something, but I don't want to give away another question.
Go ahead. I want you to talk as much as possible because we don't understand the courts, the judges. We don't know how to look at our ballot. We don't know what it means. I think a lot of people don't vote down ballot because we feel this way. If they do vote, they might vote just because somebody's name matches theirs. And what I'm hoping you help us is to figure out how to make a better choice on our ballot. So go for it.
So I was just going to add that in Texas, it's weird. We're one of 2 states. The other one's Oklahoma, where we actually have 2 high courts. So we have a Supreme Court for all the civil, family, juvenile cases, because juvenile is a civil case under Texas. Juvenile justice is civil. And then we have a whole other high court called the Court of Criminal Appeals. Also has 9 judges. And it's the Supreme Court for criminal cases in the state of Texas. And it doesn't have a Chief Justice. It has a presiding judge and also 8 different judges on that court. But they are also the high court in Texas for criminal cases.
And what was it called again?
The Court of Criminal Appeals.
And we elect them as well.
You elect them just like the Supreme Court. But nobody knows. You think people don't know who Supreme Court candidates and members are. Boy, when people start saying the Court of Criminal Appeals, nobody knows what that is. And they are statewide elected officials and statewide, candidates who get just almost zero attention. because you have to first explain what it is, and then you have to sort of be like, no, really, I'm a Supreme Court justice too, or something like that. And they end up in strange conversations because it doesn't sound like even a Supreme Court. The Court
No,
of Criminal Appeals. So
you would think
So-
they'd call it Supreme and Supremer.
Yes. Yes.
So
That's
we
right.
have 2 courts you can get high in, but yet we don't legalize marijuana. This state's a joke. Jesus.
I just want to say I wanted to emphasize what Stephanie was saying because I was out riding with one of my dearest friends today, and I asked the same question. I have no idea what to do with the ballot this time. I'm literally like, I have no idea. How do you judge a judge? How do you look at a judge and say this one over that one?
You look at the Austin Chronicle,
Yeah. Okay.
but they don't just give you, they say why. So, it's not like you're just, that's what I do.
I think we
It
should
is
do
hard because you can't run on issues. It makes it really hard because if no one really wants to hear. I mean, you might think you do, and maybe your liberal soul would want you to on some level. But think how crazy it would be if judges were out campaigning on policy issues. You just really shouldn't be doing that, and it's not appropriate under the judicial canons. And so, about all we can do is tell you we're a Democrat, tell you our bio. Give you some general kind of idea of judicial philosophy and things of that nature. But it is hard because people always want to ask you, well, what's your stance on healthcare? And what's your stance on pro-choice? And you are basically stuck telling them your bio and your history and your big picture philosophy. And at the end of the day, I know we're a left-leaning group for sure, but you really, as much as it might make you feel better to have one of those judges tell you, well, I'm a big this or a big that, at the end of the day, you want judges that are fair. Because most of the issues that come in front of us, you just want to know you're going to get your fair day in court. And 90%, 95% of those cases aren't political at all. In Travis County, they can be more political because we're the state capital, and we get a lot of the mess from the legislature ends up in front of us.
You're welcome.
So it's a little different. It's a little different here, but generally people just want fair judges. They want reasonable judges. They want judges who, will listen and treat them with respect and then do the best they can to issue that fair ruling. So it makes it hard, like you said, Paul, to kind of distinguish between them all. But that's just how we do it. And I always say electing judges is the worst system except for all the others.
Your Honor, if I could ask, so can we ask like a judge's like past rulings, like if they were lenient on like first time, small amount drug offenders, or people who like it didn't seem like this was like a consistent thing, or like can we ask about that and they can give like their, I don't know how to say it, like their record?
About anything. You can ask about anything. Whether a judge can answer is on them. And you should ask questions like that. And I am a general jurisdiction judge, so I could do criminal cases, but in Travis County, we split them up. But I would think it's really important to ask people who hear criminal cases, whether they're felonies or misdemeanors, those types of questions about what they've previously done and how they feel big picture about sentencing, and because that matters, and it matters to you. And if they've been doing this for a while, they should be able to answer those questions because they will have ways that they can tell you their approach and philosophy that don't violate the canons. They should.
Thank you.
That was, I went off a little topic. Sorry, I feel like I veered off, Stephanie.
No, what you're doing is
was
perfect. It's perfect. It's perfect. Question 4 is Aaron, yes?
Yes.
Okay. How many of the 9 current judges on the Supreme Court were originally appointed by the governor, not elected by the people, the first time they were on the court? 1, 2, 9, 5.
Well, I know there's 9.
There are 9 total. So how many of those 9 were originally appointed, not elected by the people?
That wasn't an answer, though. It took me a minute. I had to think
He's
about it. I was
messing
like, wait,
with
what's
you. He's judge. Excuse me. Point of order. Or what do they say? It's not point of order. It's objection.
Objection.
Objection. Yeah.
contempt?
Not of the judge.
I don't know. I'm just saying things that's on Law and Order.
Oh, okay.
Well, a judge, it looked like you wanted to say something. Like, feel free to.
I don't think any of those are right. I don't know for sure, but I'm gonna see which ones you think are the answer is, because I feel like none of those answers are right.
You know, I was going to say the same thing, partially because I have no idea. But, you know.
I think I know, too.
Would you like to guess?
I mean, it feels like this question's a sham at this point because the person with expertise in it is saying this is wrong. But I will play along, and I'm going to say, was 5 an option?
5 was an option, and I just posted the link that I used to find this information.
I'm gonna look at your link.
In the for everywhere. I just posted it everywhere.
Oh, come
Okay.
on.
Stephanie, did you-
Courtsarecool.com.
Well, what did you say was the answer?
Okay, so you're saying 5, but the answer, according to my research, is 2. The Chief Justice, Nathan Hecht, and Justice John Philip Devine. They were not
Maybe
appointed.
I've heard you wrong. You're asking how many were elected, not were appointed.
No, it was the opposite. How many won their election the first time? And all those others were appointed for the first time. They were appointed by the governor, which means they waited.
No, that is right. I'm sorry.
Okay.
That is
Thank you.
correct. Because I heard you the wrong way. I was like, I thought you asked how many were appointed rather than being elected.
Okay.
You were
I
asking
did too.
What I'm trying to say here
Okay,
is that the governor is getting around the legislature and getting around the people by appointing judges.
Well,
And then
I'll
of
allow it.
Thank you, Aaron. No further questions. I have more further questions. Of those 7 who were originally appointed, 5 were appointed by Greg Abbott.
How does
That's
he
what
do
I thought you
that?
were asking. So that's why I said 5.
Because when the vacancy happens outside of a time near a regular election, the governor can appoint anyone to any agency head, including the courts. And then if the legislature is in session, normally the Senate has to approve appointments. So if you paid attention to this last session, like 5 days after session, the governor appointed, and I'm making it up, but 10 or 15 positions because he purposely didn't want to have to go through the legislative oversight. And he gets people on the benches without the vote of the people at first.
Sneaky.
And then they're incumbents, so that gives them a leg up. Okay, that's a good reason to be mad
So
about.
last election, this was even true. We were already about, I think, a month out. Well, I don't know if y'all know this, but I ran last time for state Supreme Court. So I did run for the Supreme Court last election cycle. I was in the middle of my term, so I could run and keep my seat, even if I lost, which I did not prevail as a Democrat in Texas. Go figure. But we're working on that. But we were running, and there were 4 seats up because there was an extra person who had resigned. But then even while we were running, another person resigned, and he appointed someone like in October of 2020, or maybe it was September. I don't want to get the timing wrong, even though that seat couldn't come up until this election cycle. And so the person he appointed was actually appointed before the last election cycle and is now up this time in 2022. So it's been happening for a while, to your point. And most seats, especially at the statewide level, they time it to where they can resign and the governor appoints and allows a person to run as an incumbent as opposed to having to face the ballot not as an incumbent.
So they're scratching his back because he probably appointed them. So they just time their resignation so that he can have that.
They don't even really, there's not a lot of timing involved. It's they can kind of do it almost whenever. There's a little bit of a statutory kick in. If it's so close, I think it's within a certain amount of days.
Mhm.
Then I think they can appoint, but I think he can appoint whenever. And to your point, if the legislature is not in session, you don't even have the Senate doesn't even have advice and consent until they get back in session. So you got to wait until the next session. So somebody could have been in for a year and a half before anybody other than the governor has any role in it.
This does not sound like a healthy balance of power.
And in the Senate, Judge, how many folks have to advise and consent? What's the vote if that went through that process?
Well, this may not shock you, but I have never been through that process. As my entire adult life, I have been a Democrat in Texas. But I think it goes to the Judiciary Committee and the Senate, and it comes out through that committee. And
I think it's like any other bill. There's also the Appointments Committee in the Senate.
Mm-hmm.
But,
oh, maybe it does, but I think it's Judiciary. I really do. But
okay. You know what we're going to do about, we'll look that up and put it in the show notes. Okay, so question 5. Question 5, Aaron. Which of the following...
That should be Paul.
Thank you.
Because I got the question that shouldn't count, but go ahead.
Literally, Stephanie did not give me the questions before we started. I feel like I should have asked her now. What are the questions and the answers? But okay, let's keep going.
Okay, I can share them with you. I can share the answers. Okay, Paul, which of the following is not under the jurisdiction of district courts? Okay. Divorce, title to land, election contests, noise complaints, or civil matters in which the amount of money or damages involved $200 or more.
Civil damages over $200 or more.
Final answer.
No, I'm going to ask the judge now that you asked me that.
That is not correct.
Oh, good. Thank you.
We do have jurisdiction over civil matters of $200 or more. What are the other 4, Stephanie?
Divorce, title to land, election contests, and noise complaints. I might be wrong.
Did you do your own research?
I did. I did my own research and freedom. But the one here, there's one, I followed this cute little PowerPoint, and one of these was not listed on the PowerPoint.
Yeah. I think I know which one you're getting at. I think, but I don't. Paul, I'm afraid I cannot be too helpful here with a lot of certainty. It's one of 2. I know I have jurisdiction over divorces. I do those all day, every day.
2 of mine.
And then I know I have jurisdiction, like I said, of civil matters, $200 or more. What were the other 3?
Noise complaints.
I mean, I hear cases involving noise complaints.
And she does hear them, so that counts.
I'm trying to think if there's something that is weird about how she asked that makes me think that doesn't come to me. And then, because it could go somewhere else potentially. And then title to land could possibly, the way she might have asked it, may be something she thinks.
Well, she is going to walk away from this question. Noise complaints is what she thought. The others were clearly listed, and I made up noise complaints. So we're going to strike this question. Okay. Don't worry, I have a spare one, Amy.
Okay. So noise complaints is what you were saying.
Right. It was not listed as
okay. But I definitely could hear, like, if people wanted to fight about the noise complaint of their neighbor, they could definitely sue in district court.
As long as I sued for more than $200.
You could ask for an injunction. We have basically...
What's an injunction, Judge? We don't know these terms.
So here's the thing. Basically, if you could sue somebody about anything, you can sue in district court. So, I mean, think of a grievance, right? You may not go anywhere with it. It might be a frivolous case, but basically have jurisdiction. What I thought you might have been going with, there are certain things taken out of district court and put in county court or put in JP court, which would be, and I wondered if you thought the land issue was more like an eviction. And evictions don't end up in state court. They don't end up in district court to start. They start and they have JP court and county court is the route they go up. But we do hear title. That's why I was getting confused. I was wondering if you had thought that was the thing that didn't go to district court. But you can sue somebody for a noise complaint. I have a lot of neighbors who sue each other for, their next door neighbor being too loud and asking the
Okay.
court for an injunction to stop their noisy behavior. That's why I was getting confused about what you
Okay.
asked. But they did not have $200 in damage, but they would claim they do. They'd probably say, your noise complaint next door cost me my business or something because I was trying to take care of kept my kids from being able to sleep, and that caused me money damage.
Okay.
See, I just didn't understand the specificity.
I'm gonna fire that
Yes.
quiz
Yes. Okay.
host writer. Okay, new question then, Paul. Of the 12 district court judges in Travis County, how many are women? 12, 11, 2, or 1?
Oh, please don't let it be 2 or 1.
That's what I was thinking
Oh
too.
God, please don't let it be 2 or 1. I'm gonna go with you know what, Judge, I'm looking at you here. I'm thinking it's 11. And since Aaron got a pass earlier, is that sound about right to you? Okay, I'm not going to ask the judge either,
Wow.
and I'm going to say
Okay.
11.
You're correct. There's only one male judge, and I don't know how to say his name. The Honorable Cleve Doty. Cleve Doty.
He is a Greg Abbott appointee.
Oh, bless
We
him.
created a new bench in Travis County. From time to time, the county grows. And as you know, we're growing like crazy in Travis County. And so the legislature will give us a new bench. The new bench gets created before we have an election. And so just like we were just discussing, see, we're bringing it together now. It's almost like we planned this now. And just like we were just discussing, the governor gets an appointment for that bench. Now, the very next election cycle, which will be this November, that bench has an election and will be, we have a Democratic primary right now, and the Democrat will run against the Republican. And traditionally in Travis County, the Democrat has been winning in those races.
What?
Ooh.
Keeping Austin weird.
For the countywide seats.
Right.
And that's where I run, as a countywide state district court, the 201st. The number doesn't matter. All the district court benches in Travis County are countywide. And there are 12 of us who do civil, but there's also 9 more who do criminal stuff. So, and then
see why voters are confused? Do you
Yeah.
see why it's so much information?
It is. And think about it. Travis County has 30 something. Harris County has like 80. People vote on 80 judges. How could you ever know as a normal person 80? You just have to have a group that you trust, whether it's the Chronicle or the labor groups or different Democratic clubs, somebody who gives you information that helps you. Because in Harris County, I think it would be overwhelming.
Yeah.
You would
people
need a
don't vote.
whole, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We got to look down ballot and see how many people drop off for judges. Okay, final question here, Aaron. In 2021, there were 15,260 cases added to the docket in the district court. If I read that data correctly, I think I did. From the following list of case types, pick the one. You just have to get one correct of the top 5 types of cases. Okay?
I like how you beg it out of me. Like, you just have to get one. Jesus, Aaron, just one.
I don't even know where you found that data. That was good work right there.
Courtsarecool.com. I'm telling
Okay,
you.
here, once
unfire
again,
that person. Unfire them.
Can you see all the links, Judge, in the chat
Oh.
box?
I'm not seeing the links in the
It's
chat.
under the comment section, not private chat, but comments.
Oh, that's right. I was looking there. Got it.
Me
Okay,
too.
here, I'll go to private chat.
Now you know.
Well, no, I would let everyone know. Okay, here's where I got this data because I've never seen it before. Don't go looking at it right now, Paul or Aaron.
Oh,
Oh,
come
sorry.
I'm
on.
just very impressed. I mean, that was very good staff work there.
Thank you. Okay, so maybe I won't fire that person. Okay, so there are a whole bunch of different kinds. Okay, Aaron, you just need to get one. Aaron, you just need to get one right.
And I basically gave an answer to this question a few minutes ago. If you were listening to me chatter
You
on,
did. Okay, here are your choices, Aaron. Adoption, contracts, divorce, child protective services, tax cases, termination of parental rights, real property, injury or damage, and Title 4-D, whatever that is.
It's Title 4-D, Aaron. I'm going to help you out, buddy. I'm going to help you.
I really thought you were gonna say real problems, like that was when you said real problems, and I was like, well, that's kind of shitty to say the other stuff isn't real. But I'm gonna say divorce because one of our very own is a judge for that.
Oh,
Wonder
and
who
I'm
that
a-
could be.
I thought you were like, because Stephanie has 2 divorces of her own. Amy has 1. I mean, we got 3 right here, Aaron.
I'm
You're-
gonna say divorcees.
Oh, and Tom has 2. Okay,
Oh, no.
yes. Yes, you're right. That is the number 1 type of case with 3,049 cases.
Yeah, I did kind of give away that answer to that question, I think, a few minutes ago.
And it is appreciated.
I thought it was interesting, though, 15,000 cases, and then Child Protective Services was only 286, and
Wow.
termination of parental rights was only 12.
Yeah, I don't think those numbers are necessarily. I would need to go through those numbers and tell you why it is that, because I do think you're right. The numbers are higher than that for termination of parental rights.
I really tried to figure it out. So yeah, let's talk about it later. All right, Amy.
Oh, yes.
Amy, how did
Okay.
our people do?
Paul is leading 3-2.
Okay.
But one of mine was a fluke. So
The next game is a real mashup. What do you get when you take primary season comedians and judges and mix them together? You get a game called The Primary Directions. In a Family Feud style. Why? Because Steve Harvey, comedian and longtime host of Family Feud, now has his own reality TV court show called Judge Steve Harvey. And Stephanie loves Star Trek: The Next Generation. And it's primary season. Doesn't that all make sense?
Doesn't it all together?
We're playing this game a little differently. The comedians will answer the same questions at different times. We're trusting that you're muting yourself, not lip reading, until Stephanie texts you that it's your turn. You have 15 seconds per question to come up with as many answers as possible. And you get a point for each one. We're starting with Paul.
So we're muting ourselves or taking our headphones out?
You might want to take your headphones off because doesn't muting mess up the...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so just Paul, you're going to go first.
I'm going
so
first.
Aaron, take off your headphones. Don't look at the screen. So no reading of lips.
Oh,
and I'll
okay.
text you when it's your turn to play.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Audience, mom, dad, we've never done this before. So let's see how it goes.
Okay, I'm taking them out.
Okay. Aaron, can you hear me? Okay,
Aaron,
Paul.
I love you.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you a question. You have 15 seconds to answer, as just blab your answers. And then if they're right, Amy will write them down. And by if they're right, I wrote down answers. So if you come up with an answer that might be true, but is not one of the answers I wrote down, it doesn't count. It's got to be on our list. Okay, I got to start a little timer here.
I'm going to turn to the judge if I get something right and you say it's wrong. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, well, you can take me to court if you want to.
That's what I'm saying. I'm taking you to court.
Are you ready?
Yes, I am.
What is an item you can use as a photo voter ID in Texas?
Texas State driver's license.
Keep going.
U.S. passport. Immigration. No, you can't use that. You can also use your military ID. You can also use your ID that is not a driver's license.
Stop. Okay. We'll find out later how you did, not immediately after. All right. Question 2. Name the candidates for governor, both Democratic and Republican. Go.
Beto O'Rourke and that Republican guy I don't know. And then there's a Green Party member. So Abbott and Costello. I'm going to go with Costello as the third.
Okay. We got 13. You have 3 more. Okay. All right. Good.
Oh
good
my
job.
God.
Yeah.
You got 13?
Okay. Next question. Hold on. I have to restart. Okay. If you can prove you cannot reasonably obtain one of the photo IDs above, what else can you use to prove your identity in order to vote?
You can use your water bill. You can use your electric bill. You can use your electronic cable bill. You can use your bill that's related to, you can use a speeding ticket. You can use I'm pretty sure you can use
Okay,
your
thank
mom.
you.
You can just bring her in.
Yeah, you're totally on the mom. Okay, you're doing great. This game is going really well. I'm pretty excited. Okay, next question. Name positions on the statewide ballot, not county, district, or local. Just the
Karma Sutra position. Oh, ballot. Oh, sorry. Gotcha. Okay.
that's two,
That's
Paul.
not. That's
That's
two.
two.
I'm bad. I'm bad. Sorry, boss.
Okay, ready? Name positions on the statewide ballot.
Okay.
Go.
Secretary of State, Secretary of Agriculture, Secretary of War, Secretary of Money, Secretary of Railroads, the commissioners for those courts that are deemed appropriate for courtness, and then
Thank you.
that's it.
Thank you.
Damn,
Yep, that's all your time. 15 seconds goes quickly.
it's fast.
Okay, Paul, next question. If you go in person to vote, I want you to walk me through the process. List
Sure.
anything you have to do while you're there. Go.
Okay. You have to wear a mask. You have to walk in the door. You have to stay behind the person at a certain distance. Once you get there, you have to have your ID out in advance so that you can show that to them. Then you have to put it in a slot because they won't touch it. They'll look at it and then you can take it back from them once that's done. They will give you a sticker if you're a
Thank
good
you.
boy. Okay.
Thank you. We'll count that last one, Amy. He gets sticker. Okay. Oh, how many? Okay, I'm going to skip that question's going to. Okay, we're skipping to the last question. The other one will be the tiebreaker if we need it. Name movies, TV shows, or actors with the name Judge in them. This is not an exhaustive list. It's just the one that I thought of. Okay, so see if you get the same ones I do. Go.
Judge Reinhold, Judge Judy, Judge Steve Harvey, Judge Amy Clark Meachum. I'm sure she's been in a film somewhere. And then Judge Amy Lowrey, because there should be a Judge Amy Lowrey, and Judge Aaron, because I want him to judge me and like me.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Okay,
Do I
we're
have
not
to take
going to
my
tell you.
headset off?
No, you can listen, but do
Okay.
not distract Aaron or give him hints. Okay.
How are we going to get Aaron back?
I'm going to text him right now.
Can we wave
I
at
know.
him? Aaron.
No, he's not supposed to be looking.
I know, but
What if he never comes back? What
he
if
never
oh god.
ever comes back?
Okay.
I think he got your text.
I'm gonna
I think
call
he
him
did
right
too.
now.
I really like this game. It went fast. It's
It was a
funny
little
to
fast
me.
for me to scan the list because Paul was. So
Sorry.
we'll see if I got them all. Yeah.
Sorry,
Okay.
non-judge Amy.
Okay, are you back, Aaron?
I'm back.
Okay, super excited to have you. Paul, of course, has already heard the question, so he doesn't have to go away.
Oh, sounds
We've
like an
got-
advantage, but go on.
I hear you. 15 seconds per question. You're just going to list whatever you can think of that answers the question.
Oh,
Okay.
thank you for that asterisk at the end that pertains to the question.
Or you could, do whatever you want. Okay. Are you ready?
As I'll ever be.
All right. What is an item you can use as a photo voter ID in Texas?
Oh, do we start?
Yeah.
Driver's license, government issued ID, gun permit, passport. I'm a VDVR. I should know this.
Okay. Good. Good try. Good try.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mhm.
That was your time. Okay. Next question. Name the candidates for governor, both Republican and Democratic, on the primary. Your choices.
Beto
Go.
O'Rourke, Governor Greg Abbott, incumbent. I don't know if Dan Patrick's running, but we'll throw him in there. Dan Patrick. I saw Candy Cane. Somebody is there too. Also,
Okay, that's it. That's it.
okay.
I'm glad you got Candy Cane. She's one
Yep.
of my faves.
I
One of
saw
my
her.
faves.
I saw her billboard on the way out to Enchanted Rock. I was like, good for her.
Okay, question 3. If you can prove you cannot reasonably obtain one of the photo IDs above, what else can you use to prove your identity in order to vote? Go.
Almost happened to me. The utility bill. I want to say utility bill of current address, as well as a. No, that's utility.
Sorry, Aaron. Okay, number 4. Name positions on the statewide ballot. Okay, so from the top of the ticket to the bottom of the ticket, who are you going to be able to vote
Wait,
for?
just to clarify, so like Abbott, governor, lieutenant governor. Okay.
That kind of thing. Ready? Go.
Governor, lieutenant governor, judge something, Supreme Court judge person, high court judge person, a land commissioner, railroad commissioner,
Good job.
class president.
Got it. Class president. All right. 2 more questions. If you go in person to vote, walk me through the process. List anything you would do while you were there in official capacity as a voter. Go.
Okay. Hopefully not wait in line. But go in, present my photo ID, with if possible my registration card. Go to the ballot, get one of those little finger condoms,
Okay,
put my
stop.
stuff on, and
Thank you.
okay,
Very
and
good.
get a sticker.
I do want you to know that finger condom was on there. So
Mhm.
very good. Okay. Last question, unless we have to do a tiebreaker.
Uh-oh.
Name movies, TV shows, or actors with the name Judge in them. And this is not an exhaustive list. It's just the ones I came up with. So you got to match the same ones that I thought.
Does Dread count? Because it's technically just Dread, but okay.
What do you think, Aaron?
Okay.
You have 15 seconds. Say all the ones
Go.
you can.
Yeah.
Judge Dread. This is hard. I can't like this voice. Judge Judy. Night Court.
Stop. Very good.
I can't think of the guy's name, but he says it's time for tough love and tough justice.
Nobody said Judge Wapner.
Mm-mm.
Come on.
And nobody
Not
said
at
Mike
all.
Judge.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got
Oh,
Reinhold.
my Judge.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, so Amy, while you're putting the points together, I'm going to give you the answers.
Oh.
So for question 1, it was what items can you use as a photo ID? Driver's license, passport, Texas election identification certificate, Texas personal identification card, handgun license, U.S. citizenship certificate with photo, and a military ID with
Military
photo.
ID. That's the one where I was stuck.
Okay, the candidates for governor: Greg Abbott, Beto O'Rourke, Dawn Huffines, Alan West, Candy Cane Horde, Inocio Barrientos.
My favorite, Stephanie, is there's just a guy whose the name is Rick Perry, and he's
Yes.
too, like another Rick Perry.
Rick Perry.
That's what he's
Michael.
counting on.
No, and like they don't even have a picture of him on Ballotpedia. Like there's nothing. Michael Cooper, Joy Diaz, Rich Wakeland, Paul Ballou, Daniel Harrison, Rick Perry, and Chad Prather. Okay, if you
Chad's
can prove,
Chad's the QAnon-y kind of guy, isn't he?
is he?
Yeah,
He
He
didn't we
might want
talk
to be
about-
on the show. I gotta look him up.
Oh.
Okay,
Sorry,
I wanna go through these kind of quickly so we can interview Amy. So if you can prove you cannot reasonably obtain one of the IDs, what else can you use? Birth certificate, admissible birth document, current utility bill, bank statement, government check, paycheck, government document with your name and an address, including your voter registration certificate. So I love that we make you get registered and get your certificate, and it's barely useful when you vote.
But your mom can come, right? She
Your
can
mom.
validate you because she was there at your birth, right?
My
Okay, all right.
mom. My
Yeah,
mom.
your mom. Yeah.
Okay. Aaron, you did really well here on the positions on the statewide ballot.
Mhm.
Governor, lieutenant governor, attorney general, land commissioner, ag commissioner, comptroller, railroad commissioner, the U.S. House, Supreme Court of Texas, Texas Court of Criminal Appeals, which we just learned about what it is, State Board of Education, nobody got, Texas Senate, Texas House.
Class
Okay, now these
president.
are the
30
things.
seconds.
These are the things I think you do when you go vote. You register at the table and prove who you are. You approve your ballot choice. You take your code to the machine. You enter the code in the machine. You fill out the ballot. You accept your ballot. You take the printout of a ballot to another box. You get a sticker. You use a finger condom. You wear a mask, and you wonder, how old are these people who are working here?
And you say thank you to the sweet lady who said, don't forget your sticker.
You do. And you cannot get a sticker until after you vote. It doesn't say, I'm here waiting in line to vote. It says, I voted.
Mhm.
Okay, and finally, my favorite the things I could think of, obviously Judge Dredd. Aaron.
And Dread. There's 2.
I only just one. Judge Judy, Judge Wapner, the People's Court, my judge, Judge Reinhold, judging Amy, and Judge Steve Harvey, which Paul, you did a really good job. All right, Amy, how did they do and how did you do?
Aaron got 18 and Paul got 13.
Hey.
there
Well,
you
Paul,
go.
you spent a lot of time at the very beginning of the voting process and didn't quite get down to the actual ballot. So I'm sorry about that.
That's okay.
Right, but I think that game went well. We'll do
That
some
was
fun.
a
feedback.
lot of fun, actually, if
That
I'm
was
being
fun.
real.
Okay. Amy, Judge Amy, do you have anything to add to this game? Okay.
No,
Amy.
they were great. They knew more than I mean, I was impressed. Even when they started giving IDs, I was like, that's good. That's right.
Me too.
All,
I
including
am
all the ones
impressed.
they won't take, how unfortunately. All the different types of ID they won't take.
Right, like a student ID.
I don't know why library card kept coming to mind, but it just has numbers on it. It doesn't have shit. I wrote my name on my library card.
My
Fishing
Blockbuster
license.
card, I still carry it. All right, Amy, who's our winner?
Okay, so Aaron is our most knowledgeable comedian in Austin.
Okay, Tom will get a
Congratulations.
screenshot. Good job.
Well
Here.
thought, Paul.
This week we are so posting this, Tom. It's our number one priority. I don't care if the podcast gets out, but we're posting this photo.
And
All
Aaron
right.
was a VDR, which is great. That
Yes.
made my heart feel good.
Yeah, I am actually registered in 2 counties because I didn't read the instructions on the first one. So, but yeah.
Now it's time to get serious. Let's meet Judge Amy Clark Meachum, but don't make her laugh too hard or we might get charged with man's laughter. Get it? Instead of man's laughter. Manslaughter.
There wasn't that funny, Judge?
I'm hanging up. That
Yeah, no kidding. I was thinking the same thing. I was like, who wrote that?
Screens go dark.
That's right. Wait a second. Well, thank you for being here, Judge. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. I'm glad we managed to make it fun. And so the interview part will be quick. I'll be quick.
Well, you talked about this before we started the podcast, and I didn't think about it, that you've been working remotely for the last 2 years. What is it like to be a judge from home?
At first, very, very strange. And we have jury trials in person and have had other operations in person, but we really have, to honor sort of this COVID madness, we have tried to keep everybody safe, and we've been very successful about pulling about 90%, 95% of our operations home into virtual platforms. So we've all relearned our job. And now it's normal. Now the weird thing is probably being back in court a little bit. So we're kind of in that transition period as we really have sort of reached that point, whether by science or by just being tired or by just needing to get on with our lives, of trying to figure out how we're going to make it work back in person on a more regular basis. But it's worked for now. And Travis County people and lawyers have been great because they've all been able to access courts. We've learned some really interesting things. People don't hate it so much because they haven't had to get in their cars and travel and find childcare and, ride the bus. They've been able to access courts from pressing the Zoom link. And that's been a revelation a little bit, that for some people, it's been a better system, more access.
Do you think not being able to read people's body language in person versus on Zoom, does that impact your ruling, or do you normally? Yeah, I guess that's the whole.
Sure. I mean, the problem right now in person, though, having done both, right? People are wearing masks. And so while you tell a witness they don't have to wear a mask on the time they're testifying, I keep a pretty strict protocol on people wearing masks every other time. And so you can almost right now read people better on Zoom a little bit. And maybe you can get a little more insight into their lives. I do family court too, as well as civil court. You can sometimes see what's happening in their house, for example, and what's going on with their partners or their children. You get a good sense of that, which you never got before. If people come to court, they're always on their best behavior. Sometimes when they're on Zoom, they forget to mute. And so you hear a lot of interesting things.
Oh.
So,
if I can chime in with that, wasn't there, not in Texas, but I think like in Michigan, that an abuser was in the same house as the woman that he was abusing?
yeah.
And the judge called him out, and she I think it was a female judge, and she was like, "Can you please like spin around your surroundings?" And like she was in the corner.
Yeah,
And,
no, that did happen. Yes. Terrifying. But that is, just to be real serious for a minute, in those protective order type cases, Zoom has been better, except for that one situation, because you do have people usually not having to be in the same room with their abuser. And they have, for the most part, unless you have that situation happening, Aaron, it's been a safer place for them because they've been able to testify without that physical fear of being physically intimidated with someone in the same room with them. So.
Can you walk us through a typical day for you right now as a district court judge? And like we've already said, and you've seen in our games, we have no idea what different kinds of courts we have, who the judges are, but we want to know, we want to learn who shows up in the 201st court and what decisions are you forced to make every day?
Yeah, I don't want to overwhelm everybody too much, but I will say Travis County is unique because, like I was telling you, since we are in the state capital, we hear a lot. About 20% of our cases are government related. So we would hear unconstitutional law challenges, rule challenges from state agencies, election fights. A lot of that gets hashed out at the court level, at the state district court level in Travis County, and then it gets appealed to the intermediate court in the Texas Supreme Court. But 20% is really that type of big government related type of cases, tax cases that are multi-million-dollar tax cases, things like that. And then about 40% of our docket is your civil docket. And that's kind of anything you can think of when we were going off of that earlier. Car wrecks, the breach of contract, business cases, things like that. And then another 40% is your family docket, including CPS, including what I would say juvenile cases. And when you think about it these days, people don't always get married anymore, but they do have a lot of kids. So we have a lot of kids that aren't in traditional divorces, but we still need to figure out we call them suits affecting parent-child relationships. We got to figure out their conservatorship and their possession and access schedule. So that sort of makes it up. I mean, we're a generalist. So as I told you, anything you can sue anybody about, we kind of end up at the district court level. And then we have a whole other set of judges who handle the felonies and the criminal cases that you traditionally think of like a law and order type of court. But it's a pretty massive. I mean, I have jurisdiction over all of that. I have general jurisdiction. So all of those different types of cases can end up in front of me. And in small towns, small counties, one judge, you might only have one judge for the whole county, and they do that whole thing. Everything I just said is before them, and they might get all of it on a single day.
And are you the head judge of the 201st district or the only judge?
Well, in Texas, because we want to make it confusing,
Thank you.
when a court is created, we just add the number. So we have the first district and the second district and the third district. But the first district's, Lubbock, and the second district's Dallas, and the third district, this isn't exactly correct. And so when we create the 459th court, that's Travis County. But when we create the 460th court, that's Harris County. So it's incredibly confusing.
I tried to find a map of the districts and I could not find one.
You can't really, they don't really match up like the state reps do. We just need a new court, add the new number, and put it wherever it needs to go. And then they do whatever that judge does. None of it has any, you will never find anything that sort of explains it in a way that makes sense because it's ad hoc and we do it as we go. So it is very confusing. But yes, I have a boring title called the local administrative judge.
Okay.
And it actually means I'm in charge of all the courts in the entire Travis County justice system. So a lot of those big decisions, we were just talking about COVID, we were just talking about kind of whether courthouses, what they look like. A lot of that I'm having to decide on any given day, what our policy is going to be in addition to my individual cases.
What would you say brings you the most joy in your position, and then what is the most frustrating thing for you?
I think my favorite day ever on the bench that brought me the most joy, I'm going to try to remember the exact date. Was it June 26, 2015, when Obergefell v. Hodges was decided by the U.S. Supreme Court? And I spent my whole day marrying same-sex couples who had never been able to get married before in the state of Texas. And I'm actually getting choked up thinking about it, because there was so much joy that day. People were so happy. People who loved the state, and they didn't want to go get married in New Mexico, and they didn't want to go get married in Vermont. They wanted to wait until the state they loved recognized their love for each other. And we spent our whole day that day marrying people, and it was really, really a great day. And I still love doing special ceremonies like that, or special adoption ceremonies. That's the fun stuff you get to do, getting to do marriages and weddings, and having that power to make somebody's life a little happier. Now, you also see the bad side of it. Like I said, you see sometimes when the marriages break up, but that day was special, and I still, I'll never forget it. We had a great day. All the judges that were on the bench that day. So
It's really beautiful.
If I can, I was actually at a concert on that day, and we all moshed. We got into a mosh pit to celebrate that, and it was a really sweet moment of just like people just like it was a really cool day, and I can only imagine like being in your position, like how like a privilege and honor that was. So thank you. That was a really cool day. Yeah.
I thank you for sharing that too. I got to go, and I don't go to court very often, but I got to go to court once to adopt a child through CPS, and the judge was a Llano courthouse judge, and I'm pretty sure the desk was like 4 feet raised off, right? Like he goes up steps to get onto the thing, and it was such a solemn place, and I was scared to death. And he comes out and he's smiling and he's happy, and he's like, this is such a rare thing. We get to have fun today. We get to have something happy in the court. And I was like, okay, if my only experience ever in court is this, I'll take it. Sorry, I told a story.
It is the greatest. I mean, every day in this job is a very meaningful day, but there are hard days. You see a lot of tragedy. I always say, and this is why I would just give you one last pitch about why courts are important. You guys kind of live this, and you, Stephanie, have worked at the legislature for years, but most people don't. They're not going to interact with their local state rep, really. They're not going to they're never going to interact with their congressperson. But somebody at some point is always going to come to court. And a lot of times you're going to be in court on your absolute worst day. And you want to make sure that the people who hold those positions, who hold people's lives in their hands, can actually feel empathy for that person and can actually give them their fair day in court, or, provide a little joy for the Pauls of the world when they do get to have that great day in court, not a bad day, but a good one. And so it is really important that we put people in these seats who kind of have that ability to listen and be patient with people on their worst days and on their best days, because people are going to come to court. That's just what happens. It's not as, it's not as for sure as death and taxes, but there is usually a point in your life where you end up before a judge for some reason. And so hopefully when you have that interaction, it's with somebody who treats you with that respect that you deserve. So that's why it's important who we elect.
Okay, I think I'm going to ask you 2 more questions. I'm going to tell you them both up first. One is, so most of my experience with court is on TV, right? With Judge Wapner. He was the one I like to watch, or watching The Wire. Although I have been to small claims court and I have been to divorce court. What are the top 3 things you would say to anybody showing up in a courtroom? What are the 3 most important rules of behavior?
Well, like I said, now I have court at people's homes from Zoom. So let me try to think back to the year 2020. No, I mean, the rules are posted on the door. What I would say, don't wear shorts. I feel okay about, I rarely notice people's clothes, but there are still a lot of judges who you could upset with your wear. So it's not just shorts. Try to wear your nicest clothing, your Sunday best. Be respectful. Stand up when the judge walks in. It's the one place. It is not so much respect for me, but respect for the law and the process. So you're going to stand when a judge comes in. And I've been called a lot of things. This is interesting. I have been called things that you would not believe, but generally call a judge Your Honor. Don't call him sweetie. I've been called sweetie. Don't call him Miss. That's another one. Miss. Call them Your Honor. Those would be my tips. But the time I was called sweetie, I think it was a mistake by the lawyer who said it.
Oh.
But at any rate, try to have that feeling of respect for the process, if not the person.
I see
Is
it
ma'am or
over the
sir
ledge.
okay?
Yeah, ma'am or sir
Okay.
doesn't really bother me, but the traditional thing to say would be Your Honor.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Judge, I could be wrong, but the laws flow from the Constitution through the legislative body. Is that not correct? So ultimately, you're standing up for the Constitution of the United States.
That's true. That's the oath I take. So both constitutions, the state and the federal one, that's the oath we take.
So then let's end from me, and then I'll open it up to any more questions. We've already talked about it a little, but if there's one thing you wanted the regular person to think about as they try to decide about Travis Judge 147th Court, 299th Court, as we try to make these decisions for these 20 or so judges, what do you want the commoner to know about arming themselves to make the best decision they can possible on these races? And I'll say it, how important it is to vote all the way down the ballot for these people.
It is. I will also say, though, don't vote if you don't. I think it's really important to vote all the way down the ballot. But if you really have no idea and you haven't researched, I don't think it's a good idea to vote for these candidates, because then you're just voting on a name and you're voting on what something sounds like, or you're voting on maybe they have a name that you like or a friend that you know, or,
Rick Perry for
yes, exactly.
governor.
And I think it's really important. We've had a situation here in this county and in other places around the state where people have just voted on a name that sounded like a good name, or they voted for a woman and not for a man, which in general, look, I'm a female candidate and I generally love that, but it sometimes gives us situations where people are voting not on what the quality of the judicial candidate would be. They don't know what they're voting on. And we've ended up with people getting elected who I think people would be surprised about if they knew more about them. And so I think you just have to be careful. You have to pick a publication like Amy suggested, or one of these groups that you trust, or your judge friend that you know, or your lawyer friend that you know, and actually spend a little time getting some recommendations on who you should vote for, because it is a really important position, like I said, that can affect, to Aaron's point, I know he cared about this, how people get sentenced, what the right amount of judgment is, how same-sex couples are treated in the courthouse, different situations where people are, like I said, in their worst day. And you really want to make sure that you're electing judges who share your values and who will be fair. So.
Thank you. Is it publicly available? I found the statistics, but could I look up and say, of the 1,000 or 100 divorce cases that Amy Clark Meachum presided over, can I go public? Can I go get those records with the public information request?
It would be hard in Travis County because I didn't want to add this complexity because we got through this and it's just adding another whole.
Never mind, Amy Lowrey.
In Travis County, we have a central docket and we all share each other's cases. So it would be very hard in Travis County to do that.
Okay. Thank you. I really appreciate this. I've learned a lot. I think you've educated at least 4 people. Anybody have a final question for the judge?
Judge, what was the hardest part about dealing the last two? I think you're the administrative judge, so you're responsible at some level for the budget. Is that correct?
Yes. I mean, the commissioner's court gives us a lot of our budget, but yes, but I have to make the requests. Yes.
So what was the thing you had to do that was different budgetarily in the and I know budget questions are so funny, but seriously, what was the toughest part of making the transition during the pandemic with the budgeting?
Well, budgetarily, I feel like Travis County, we were a leg up on this because we had a pretty good tech system. We had a pretty good tech team, and they've been amazing. And our tech team was ready to go. And when we started, we were doing full dockets really by June, and having court already with YouTube channels and Zoom and all of that. I think the hardest part for me, though, was being my own tech person and my own sort of, I mean, when you're in a courthouse, I'm gonna sound like a whiner now, but the courthouse is made for the convenience of the judge. You know, like you said, you walk in and everybody stands up and you're sitting in this high desk and people bring you paper, they bring you a pen. And now I'm at home and I'm having to, you know, search my own, kind of find my own tech problem and figure out how to do things that I never had to do before. And that, you know, that's pretty difficult if you've never done it and you're used to having 5 people to help you do things, and you kind of end up having to do them for yourself. But on some level, maybe it's made us better, right? Because we've lived a more real experience of what everybody else has. We haven't been pampered. We've had to make our own coffee. So things that happen to people. So that's Stephanie.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Aaron, do you?
Yeah, you don't have to take it as seriously, but did you ever get frustrated that y'all don't have those cool white wigs like they do in other countries? Because I would have been pissed, like if I came out of judge school and then I found out, like, what, I don't get a costume. Like, do you get upset?
Oh, she does wear a wig.
I will say, yes, that would be great. I think you could wear one if you wanted. No one's telling us we can't, Aaron.
Could you really? Because
So,
I honestly, I say,
go to law school, and there he goes. If you wanted to go to law school and get your degree and spend 8 years as a practicing lawyer and run for judge, you could bring back the wig.
because if I'm being real, I got my degree in journalism and I was going to get my second one in political science. So
that
the
could be
thing
your
stopping
campaign
me,
promise. And people would probably be into it in Travis County.
it'd be such a flex, Judge. I say do it. Like, just bring it back.
It wouldn't be seen as like too British or something. Like,
Nah, it'd be cool.
Maybe
It'd be a power move.
April 1st this year, you could just walk in very seriously. I believe that I don't know what the rule is on gifts, Judge,
well, I'm
but
generally
perhaps
very
you're going to get a
serious.
wig from Over the Ledge.
I will say, though, I did have one good day where I was the duty court judge and did divorces all day on October 31st. And I wore a witch's hat all day. And people would come up and they would try to get their divorce. And I would say, we can either do this with the witch's hat on or I can take it off. And to a person, all day long, everybody said, oh, please, leave that hat on.
Oh, I love it.
All right, take us home, Amy Lowrey. We're done. That was
thank
a
you
great
so
ending.
much to our special guest, Judge Amy Clark Meachum, and comedian Paul Normandin. And thank you, Aaron. Where can people find you next?
I think I'm just chilling right now. I'm not doing really shows right now. So yeah, I'm just kind of waiting for stage 5 to stop.
Before you get on stage.
Yeah, before I start talking without masks and stuff.
And what about you, Paul? Where can people find you next?
I think my next show will be a storytelling event at Neil Cochran House on March 3rd. Yeah, so that should be a really fun event.
Nice.
All right. Thank you to Aaron Salinas and our Over the Ledge benevolent empress, Stephanie Chiarello. Thank you to our sound engineer, Tom Booker. Just remember, Tom Booker loves you.
I would like to thank Amy Lowrey for guiding us through this episode. Don't forget, she is glad you're here. A second thank you to our sponsors. We couldn't do this without you.
And that's our show. If you like what you heard, please subscribe to our podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Like us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and now TikTok as @OverTheLedge with no D. Bye.
Bye.
Thank y'all.
Thank y'all.
Great, Paul.
Thank you, Your Honor.
No D and Over the Ledge. Like, it was so meta. We didn't even think of that when but no Democrats, Paul. No Democrats. Okay, we're still live.